If there is one thing that separates those who succeed from those who don't, it's discipline. You'll never accomplish difficult things or achieve big goals without discipline. Discipline is absolutely necessary if you want to separate yourself from the average person. And by average person, I just mean the ones that just live a life less than the one that they're capable of living. Living a life that's less than their actual full potential. Talent might get people started and motivation will get them going for a while, but talent can only take you so far, and motivation is not going to outlast the monotony of the things that you need to do. But in addition to discipline, you also need consistency in that discipline, because everybody can be disciplined for a few days or a couple weeks, but very few people can be disciplined for months or years at a time. And that's the big separator from having discipline versus just having discipline for a couple weeks or a couple months. It's consistency. But when we talk about consistency, we're not talking about perfection. We're not talking about every day, same time, same thing. We're talking about moving in an upward trajectory. We're talking about, hey, if I fall off today, I'm going to get right back up tomorrow and continue. So it's like the graph, right? When you zoom in on the graph, there's a lot of like ups and downs, peaks and valleys. But when you zoom out of that graph, it's going at, this kind of angle. It's going up. But again, if you zoom in, it's like this, going up and down and up and down. Consistency is just making sure that that angle is going up and you're always at an upward trajectory. And again, what we mean by discipline and consistency is doing what you told yourself you were going to do, even when you don't feel like it, and doing that again and again and again and again. That's the discipline plus the consistency part that's going to give you that upward trajectory path. So today, that's what we're diving into. Key number 9 to becoming the best version of yourself: discipline and consistency. So discipline is training your body to take the action regardless of what your mind says. But our minds can be fickle, you know, shaped by millennia of evolution, always trying to keep us safe with its outdated programming. If you're not sure what I mean by outdated programming, what I mean is so our minds were designed to keep us safe. And in keeping us safe, it was designed to activate our fight or flight response. So like if we're getting chased by a dinosaur, our mind will activate the fight or flight response to help us escape the danger. The only problem is now that same fight or flight response kicks on when we're like sitting in a meeting or driving down the road when there's no real apparent danger, right? So I use that as an example to tell you that we're working with outdated programming, and that outdated programming is designed to keep us comfortable and to keep us safe. And in doing so, we remain in our comfort zones, right? So we're steadily battling this evolutionary programming that we have to try and become the best versions of ourselves. And discipline is actually how you take that control back and reprogram your mind and rewire your mind to do things that take you out of your comfort zone, to do things that are difficult, because our mind wants to stay comfortable. Our mind doesn't want to do difficult things. Our mind doesn't want to take the cold showers or wake up early in the morning or eat right or work out. Our mind and our body wants to sit on the couch eating Cheetos watching Netflix. So going back to discipline, I had a teacher one time that explained it to me like this. He said, discipline is learning to do what you have to do, whether you want to or not, whether you have time or not, without being told. Now, the unfortunate thing is I remember that statement from high school, and it's obviously stayed with me for all these years, but I never even utilized that statement until my 30s, which that's kind of crazy that, you hear something way back then and just never forget it, but it never positively affects you. You never utilize it until you're ready for it, till you're mature enough to understand it. And that's what happened to me with discipline. I had a high school teacher that was trying to teach us all discipline, but back then, in one ear and out the other, right? And discipline is one of those things that has to be developed. Like, we're not born with discipline. We're born to remain comfortable and safe. And I know it's a way overused metaphor, but discipline is like a muscle. The more that you use it, the stronger it gets. And it's one of the more difficult attributes to adopt into our lives because it causes us to get uncomfortable And most of us don't want to be uncomfortable. Comfort is a drug that most people are addicted to. And the only way to break free from that addiction is to intentionally put ourselves in uncomfortable situations, intentionally do things that we don't feel like doing. Quite frankly, doing things that suck in that moment. Scientifically, when you intentionally do difficult things, your brain adapts. It actually strengthens neural pathways that have to do with resilience and problem solving. The more you expose yourself to controlled stress, whether it's like the popular thing these days is a cold plunge. So whether it's a cold plunge or a hard workout or waking up early when you would rather sleep in, the more that you put those controlled, stressful situations on yourself, the more your brain learns to handle stress in a healthier way. So I looked it up, and this process is called stress inoculation. And so what that means, by purposely challenging yourself, you're training your brain to respond more calmly and effectively when life throws those curveballs at you. So over time, what once felt overwhelming and stressful starts to feel manageable, and the hard things that show up don't hit as hard. And in short, doing difficult things intentionally, not only does it make you stronger, but it makes life easier. And that is how you break free from the addiction to comfort. I mean, it definitely sucks at first, but much like anything in life, the beginning is difficult. Think of the example like a train. To get started, it's very slow moving. It's very difficult to get the train started, but once that bad boy's going, full steam ahead. Me personally, I'm going through seasons of massive discipline and seasons of no discipline. And without fail, I've always felt better in the seasons of discipline. Now, waking up early sucks a lot more than just sleeping in that comfortable bed does. But if I can just break out of that in the morning, the rest of my day is smoother. I'm more happy. But that bed is like a magnet in the morning. It's very difficult. And that was one of the most difficult things for me, is to just get up when the freaking alarm goes off. And without fail, I've always felt better in the seasons of discipline, even though I was doing things that were uncomfortable, even though I was doing things that I didn't feel like doing or didn't want to do in the moment. Those things ultimately made me better. And as an example, things like waking up early, not drinking, working out, and reading self-help books, etc. There's a certain dopamine release when you tell yourself you're going to do these difficult things, and then you do it, even when you don't feel like doing it. You have this moment of being proud of yourself for fighting that voice that wants to stay asleep, or that wants to hit the snooze button, or wants to have a drink, or doesn't want to go work out. You're constantly battling that voice. And again, there's such a feeling of satisfaction when you overcome that voice and do that shit. So after you do it, even though you didn't want to, after you do it, it's like, hell yeah, I did it. It's a moment of being proud of yourself because you won. Okay, so now once you start getting your discipline wired in, you've got to go to the next step, which is being consistent. Because discipline is not a one-time thing. It's something that you continue over time. Because you can be like a sniper with your discipline for a few days or a few weeks, but more than likely, there's inevitably going to come a day where you're like, man, I do not feel like doing that shit, and I'm not going to do it. And it's in those moments, it's on that day where you decide, are you going to stick to what you told yourself you were going to do? Or are you going to give in to that voice of comfort? I mean, as an example, let's say you've been diligent and militant about waking up early, drinking your water, doing your thing in the morning, having a wonderful morning routine. But then one night, them kids, they keep you up too late. And then the alarm goes off in the morning and you hit that snooze button. Hey, but them 9 minutes though, am I right? But you caved. You negotiated with yourself. And I'll be honest, if I had $9 every time I hit the snooze button instead of getting up when I said I was going to get up, man, I would have like, I'd have, well, I probably actually only have like $30,000. But shit, that's a lot of snooze button money. But anyway, if you negotiate with yourself and let it slide, that one decision often leads to another one. And that's how that discipline starts to unravel. So discipline is about making the right choices, and consistency is about continuing to make those right choices over and 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 over. It's the power of repetition, stacking those small wins on top of each other, stacking those small wins up every single day, and they start adding up to something pretty extraordinary. So why do these two go hand in hand, discipline and consistency? Discipline will get you to the gym when you're tired, but consistency will make you strong and beautiful. Discipline will get you out of the bed when your alarm clock goes off, and consistency will make it a habit. Now that we know why they matter, let's talk about how to build them, all right? Number one, you got to start small. Discipline and consistency are not about like these giant leaps. They're about small, steady steps. Because if you try to overhaul your entire life overnight, man, you're gonna get burnt out. You're gonna probably fail. You probably ain't gonna make it. The second step in building discipline and consistency, you gotta have clear goals. What are you working toward? Because it's much easier to stay disciplined when you know why you're doing. If you just all willy-nilly just decide one day I want to try some shit, that ain't gonna last. You gotta write it down. What are you doing it for? Write it down. Visualize it. Who you want to be at the end of this thing, and create those steps that's gonna get you there. Create that discipline that you need to get you there, and then keep on doing that shit when it's boring, when you don't like it anymore, when the motivation wears off. That's where that discipline and consistency is really gonna get you somewhere where you want to go. And then it's gonna start compounding, and it's gonna become a habit, and then it's gonna become who you are. Next thing you want to do is create that routine. Structure is super helpful whenever you're building your discipline and consistency. It makes life a whole lot easier when you have certain times dedicated to doing the thing that you're trying to build discipline in. It takes the thought out of it, because the more automatic your actions become, the less willpower you're going to need to stay consistent. Another thing that really helped me, I had a friend of mine one time, shout out Kirk. He said to me, you just got to take the emotion out of it and do the task. Take the emotion out of it and do the task. That's one of the things that creates a lot of problems in life, is we think too much. We're always thinking about how we're feeling, thinking about, I don't feel like doing this, thinking about, oh, should I do this? No, you said this is what you want to accomplish. Okay, well, if that's what you want to accomplish and you're serious about it, just do it, regardless of how you feel, regardless of anything else. This is what you said. Don't negotiate with yourself. Keep the promises that you made to yourself. That has a whole bunch of other positive things that come into your life when you can keep the promises that you make to yourself. If you depend on your feelings to run your life, I can guarantee you're not going to get very far. Anyway, take the emotion out of it and just do the task. Number 4, the next thing you want to do is you want to track your progress. Rob Dyrdek calls it gamifying your progress. Just keep a checklist and track your wins. Give yourself a gold star for your commitment to yourself. And when them gold stars start adding up, you're going to think, man, look at all those gold stars. People will start calling you like Gold Star Sally or Gold Star Gilbert or something. Anyway, the next way to build that discipline and consistency is you want to prepare for challenges. Don't get it twisted. When I say prepare for challenges, I don't mean stress and worry yourself to death over what may or may not happen. What I mean by prepare for challenges is understand that there are going to be days when you're tired, you're unmotivated, them kids been getting on your nerves, or you're just overwhelmed by life. Ironically, just yesterday morning, I woke up super tired. Now, I've been getting up at 4:30, but this morning was tough. I felt that voice in my head. It was talking to me. As soon as the alarm went off, I heard that voice just hit that snooze, big dog. But I did not hit that snooze. My discipline kicked in because motivation was at zero. Nada. I had no motivation to get up whatsoever. My body was heavy. The bed was warm. The room was cold. I just wanted to go back to sleep. But I didn't negotiate with myself because right now I'm in a season of massive discipline. And so it didn't matter how I feel. I ain't negotiating. But let's say you're not in a season of massive discipline. Let's say you're starting to build your discipline. But if you're tired or unmotivated or overwhelmed, Just do something to keep that momentum going. Maybe it's walking instead of working out. Maybe it's reading 5 pages from a book instead of 10. Just do something that's going to keep you on track. Now, if you always find yourself having these negotiations with yourself, then you're going to need to decide if this is really who you want to be, what you want to do. And you need to decide if this is even the right goal for you. Because if you're constantly negotiating with yourself, just stop. Again, understand this is a process. Discipline and consistency is a process. Probably not going to be easy in the beginning. It's just a matter of getting back up whenever you fall down, every single time. Now, I've had seasons in my life where discipline and consistency were the last things on my mind, the last things I was thinking about or wanted to do. I mean, I get super excited about a new goal or a new mindset. I mean, I'm going out buying another new notebook to write my goals in, going out and getting that brand new fresh G2 pen, blue ink .7, so I could write my goals down. I got to go get that fresh grid paper instead of that old wide roll legal pad paper. All that unnecessary shit that was nothing more than procrastination disguised as preparation. I do all that stuff. I bought all that shit. The new pen, the new notebook. I'm writing my goals down. I'm excited. I'd go hard for a few days. And then that weekend would come, game over. What I came to realize though later on is it's just about doing something consistently and then build on that. If I falter on Wednesday, I'm not waiting until Monday to start over. I'm starting over on Thursday. Get back up as soon as you fall and keep going. You have to understand and think about who you want to become. Who are you working to become? It's worth it. Your goals and your dreams are worth it. Get your ass back up and get back on the horse. You can do it. Just don't worry about how you feel right now in the moment. Like my boy Kirk said, take the emotion out of it and just do the task and live in that moment as you are the person that you want to become. What are they doing? Disciplined, consistent, goal-oriented, free, joyful, excited, expectant. It's all about those small moments. You piece enough of those small moments of discipline together and they just start adding up. And all of a sudden you have a life full of habits and you're becoming the person that's living the life that you can't stop dreaming about. So, here's my challenge to you. Think of one area in your life where you need more discipline and consistency. Maybe it's your health. Maybe it's your career. Maybe it's your personal growth. Start small, pick one habit, and commit to it for 30 days. And track your progress. Do it for 30 days. Go back to gamifying it. Out of 30 days, see how many days you can stay disciplined. And again, if you falter on day 3 of week 3, pick it back up the next day. Go get you some gold stars. Create a chart. Slap you some gold stars up there whenever you get it right. It's a celebration, but it starts with discipline. It starts with keeping the promises that you made to yourself, regardless of how you feel right now. And again, if you break the promise that you made to yourself, give yourself a little bit of grace, get right back up on the saddle, and go again. Don't stay down. If you really want to get there, you'll get there. You got to fight with everything you got to break free from the person that you are to become the person that you want to become. You'll get there. Anyway, that's all I got for you today. If you know anybody that needs some discipline, that needs some consistency, share them this video. It also helps to get the message out by liking and subscribing. That's why everybody tells you to do that all the time, because it shows more people. Algorithms and shit, you know? Anyway, have a great day. I'll see you on the next video where we talk about surrounding yourself with the right people. Key number 10 in becoming the best version of yourself. And after that, we only got one more. There's only 11 of them. So thank you. As my beautiful wife says, make good choices and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.